session. This will be a very practical session, as we have discussed last time also. We'll be covering whole of the second chapter, which is a very big chapter. 72 shlokas are there and many concepts are there. And specifically, if I talk about second chapter is basically content of Gita summarized. So we will get to hear the summary of whole Bhagavad Gita, all the concepts which finally Lord Krishna will be elaborating on in the next subsequent chapters. So second chapter is very important chapter, and in my understanding of second chapter, and whenever I talk about second chapter, one feedback which I always get is that second chapter is very difficult to understand. Most of the people, they tell me that so many things are going on, so many things are interwoven, that second chapter becomes difficult to understand. So we'll try to simplify it as much as possible for all of us. And for this, we will take help of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada has given very nice commentary on second chapter in his Bhagavad Gita as it is. We'll try to follow that theme and try to understand what is there in second chapter. So like last time, we will start with a small prayer which we offer to our Guru Parampara, so that they give us knowledge and insight so that we can understand this second chapter. So please repeat with me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. So let's offer our obeisances to the Guru Tattva, who can guide us how we can understand this very intricate philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and apply it in our life. So specifically, we will be focusing on what as professionals we can gather from these sessions, because this is Gita for professionals, as we discussed last time. And as professionals, we face many challenges and problems which are unique to our own understanding and being. So we will try to find out answers to all those questions which we face. Now, anytime when we meet someone, we ask them that, how are you? What is your name? Who are you? And what do you do for your living? So these are very basic questions which we always ask anyone. Even a small kid, when he is in nursery, we groom him that anybody asks that, who are you? You should tell your name. Now, today's session, we will try to understand really who we are. Actually, what is our identity? And actually how we can understand ourselves. So this is the Bhagavad Gita way how we will try to understand it. So I welcome you all for this session, and let's together try to find out solution to this riddle, who are we? So many times when we think about life and so many problems, especially as professionals, we face. And one of the problem which is increasing day by day is mental disorder. WHO says that in the next 100 years will be the 100 years of mental illness and disorders, because they are increasing day by day. Like you can see in many of the countries which we think that they are very affluent, you see they are more than 20% of population is having mental disorders. This is WHO and other statistics combined, and they have formed this map in which you can see that some places are really dreadful to live because so much stress is there. So all this mental disorder and all these problems, somebody did a survey in which they asked doctors that, do you have mental disorders? And 40% of doctors, they responded that in last 1 month, they had a feeling that yes, they are suffering from, or they can be actually classified as mental disorders, what we read in psychiatry. And these depressive disorders or anxiety disorders, they are very prevalent and common in our scenario. Like we, many times, once in a month or twice in a month, we hear that somebody very highly placed professional, doctor, engineer, MBA, chartered accountant, he committed a suicide. And why he is doing that? Basically, 1 in 8 people in world, or almost 970 million people around the world, are living with mental disorder, with anxiety, depression being the most common of them. So why it is so? one way we are improving like anything with so many gadgets, so many options for enjoyment, and so much connected world. And other way we are so much disconnected. So why we have lost this connection, and where is the problem? Actually, we have lost the inner connection, and this is what Bhagavad Gita will teach us. This inner connection is very important. In 2012 survey, almost 50% of US physicians, they say that yes, we think that we are suffering from some disorders. And around 400 doctors in US, they commit suicide. They commit suicide every year. And rest, many of them, they try but they fail. So thing is that mental disorders and their repercussions are big part of our profession. And somehow we try to hide them behind the curtain, under the carpet. We don't discuss about it, but it is a reality. And when somebody commits suicide, then it comes in the forefront. We talk about it for a day or two, and then we conveniently forget about it. Now, why there is so much confusion? Because actually we have material prosperity, but with material prosperity, what we are getting is material perplexity. We are so much perplexed with so many options, so many choices, so many things to do, and still we are not happy. There is some pinprick which is going on in society, and that we see very easily when some untoward thing happens. Then the tempers start boiling, people start fighting for almost a non-existent thing, almost for a small thing as a simple road rage accident or road rage event can lead to someone killing the other person. So we are becoming so much intolerant. Why it is happening? Why there is so much confusion? Is this confusion good or bad for us? See, if this confusion leads to quitting the thing, if this confusion leads to we not actually agreeing to what we want to discuss and decide in our life, then this confusion is bad. But if this confusion is good, if we try to find out the solution. So like in first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we saw that Arjun was very much confused. He was very much disturbed. He was thinking what to do in his life. As a Kshatriya, his duty is to fight. He doesn't want to fight with his relatives. So this confusion was raging inside him. And how he found solution to this confusion. Now he had internal dialogue with himself where he wants to leave everything and quit everything. But actually, whether to quit or seek help, this makes the big difference. See, confusion will be there in life, everybody's life. But what you do with that confusion? Do you quit? Do you become depressed? Then you become succumb to all the mental illnesses which we discussed. And maximum population, they do this way only. They quit and they go into depression. The people who seek help, the right help from the right person who can remove this confusion, they actually flourish. So this confusion is good or bad? It depends how and what you do with that confusion. If you quit, then it is bad. And in first chapter, Arjuna is like that only. He is not able to withstand this confusion. He wants to quit and he wants to run away from the battlefield. Same way, same thing happens to us also. Many times we want to run away from our professional life. Sometimes we want to run away from personal life because we don't want to face those questions. We don't want to face those confusions. What we should do? We should try to find out help. We should try to find out help how we can remove this confusion from our life. And what is the solution? Last session we discussed that solution for any confusion is knowledge. Actually, confusion is the beginning of wisdom if we rightly understand it. So confusion is good or bad? Confusion is good if we want to seek wisdom through that. So what is the solution? For us, in the paradigm which we are discussing, our solution we'll try to find out from Bhagavad Gita. There can be other solutions also. So in chapter 2, what happens? A big shift occurs in Arjuna's life. Initial 10 shlokas, Arjuna still is saying about and professing his doubts. He doesn't want to decide what he wants to do. He is still confused. But a big turning point happens at 2.7. The 2.7 is the shloka where Arjuna decides to surrender to Krishna. So 2.7 is the turning point of Bhagavad Gita. If there was no 2.7 shloka, then we would not have got Bhagavad Gita. So then Krishna starts speaking. Like we discussed that Krishna has not spoken a single word in whole of first chapter. But in second chapter, he starts speaking. And what he's saying, he wants Arjuna to fight. And he will give many different arguments to somehow convince him that yes, you should fight. So what all arguments he is giving? First thing he is saying, he will give him the knowledge of soul and he will tell him that you should not quit. You should fight because anyways, death is a non-entity if you know what is soul. And second section, he will talk about that, okay, if you even want material gains, then as a Kshatriya, you should fight because you will enjoy the heavenly kingdoms. And third argument, Krishna gives that fight. If you are worried about all the sinful karmas which will fall upon you because of fighting and so many deaths, then fight. But do it as a Nishkam Karma Yoga, where you will not get any reaction. And fourth section, and he will actually elaborate on this very much. From 2.39 to 2.53, he will talk about Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga is another name for Nishkam Karma Yoga, which is the same as Bhakti Yoga. We will be elaborating on these terms, so don't worry about it. And next section, the fifth section, is where he will tell that if you become fixed up in your Bhakti Yoga, then how you can fight without any reaction and how you can develop material detachment. So this is the flow of chapter 2. So many times, as I said, if you read Bhagavad Gita cover to cover, still you may not get this type of orderly arrangement in your mind. So this is very important to understand that Bhagavad Gita is very orderly arranged text. And here we can see that specific sections are there in second chapter. We can equally understand it as a flow, as a theme, but we can also understand it as a subdivisions within that second chapter. So first and foremost thing, like I said, 2.7 is the turning point of Bhagavad Gita. In 2.7, what Arjuna is saying, Karpanya dosho bhatas svabhava prachami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yat shreyasya nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteyam shadhi mam tvam prapannam. So for the first time, Arjuna is now changing his relationship with Krishna. Till now, they were like good friends, and friend in need is friend indeed. So Krishna is helping as becoming charioteer of Arjuna. But now this table and this relationship has turned. Now what has happened? Arjuna is now surrendering and he is accepting Krishna as his teacher, his guru, his guide. So what he is doing? He is surrendering. Now surrender requires that you should leave your false ego behind. If you have ahankar or false ego in you, you can never surrender. So Arjuna is a very noble soul, and he has that understanding because of his Gurukula education that yes, if I want knowledge, the first and foremost thing is I will have to surrender. So what he is doing? Karpanya dosho bhata svabhava prachami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. Bole, I am not getting what should I do? What is my dharma? And what Arjuna is saying? Shishyaste aham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. Shishyaste aham. I am now your disciple. Now you guide me what to do. So like we discussed, there will be confusion in life. But if you develop that attitude of surrender, if you surrender to someone who can guide you, then you will find out the solution also. So what we are doing, we are never surrendering. Many times we surrender also, but that surrender is also conditional surrender. We surrender because we want some actual material benefit from someone. The real surrender is that Arjuna doesn't want anything. Arjuna just wants that Krishna should clear his confusion. This is the right way of seeking help. The right way of seeking help is asking someone that what should I do in my life? I am so much confused. I am so much perplexed. I have achieved so much in life. I have almost touched all the pinnacles what people think that will bring satisfaction. But still I am not satisfied. Still I have so many lingering questions inside me. Who will give answers to those questions? That is a moment of epiphany. That is a moment when you will find out your answers. But for that, you will have to have a noble mind which can surrender, a mind which is not complicated. Only if you are simple, then only you will be able to surrender. If you're not simple, you will not be able to surrender. So what happens? In first chapter, his body language is like this. He's touching his head, very much depressed, leaving his Gandiva bow aside, sitting on the chariot and becoming morose. The moment in 2.7, he surrenders. The body language is different. Now he's asking questions. He's asking for clarification. And Arjuna's confusion is getting removed slowly by slowly throughout all the chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So you see that our body language is also like this. We are almost always perplexed. क्या हो रहा मेरे जीवन में? और हम क्या कर सकते हैं? We can surrender. If we surrender, now from that perplexity, at least we are surrendering to someone who can answer. And with all these lives which we have lived in on this earth, we know that actually there are no answers to questions which we are asking. These answers will not be there in science. These answers will not be there in any philosophy. These answers are only with Lord Krishna. He can only answer your queries. So what should ask? We should ask that who am I? मैं कौन हूँ? Why I am here? What is my duty? So like a good guru, a Sadguru, what he will do? A bona fide guru will first and foremost teach his disciple that you are not this body. So same is with Lord Krishna. He is Adi Guru. He is the Guru who guides everyone. So what he is saying, first and foremost knowledge he is giving to Arjuna is, you are not this body. Now many times when we hear this, okay, you are not this body, then who am I? So we will try to find out this answer. Like Prabhupada, when he went to America and he told many Americans that you are not this body, then many of them, they asked, okay, Prabhupada, I understand I am not this body, then whose body I am? Because their understanding is that actual final existence is on bodily platform only. So they didn't get this thing only that there is something metaphysical, something which is beyond this body. There is some other existence for us which is beyond us. So what bona fide guru will tell? Bona fide guru will first and foremost give gyan, this knowledge. And from where this gyan starts? This gyan doesn't start from a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. It starts from you are not this body. This is the foundational, fundamental principle of spirituality. If someone is claiming himself to be a guru and he is not talking about this fundamental principle that you're not this body, he is bluffing his disciples. Either he doesn't know this basic fact or he is hiding it because he has his own reasons to hide them. So now if we just pause here and think about that, actually if I am not this body, then what I am? Let me understand what is this body. And if we try to understand what is this body, we will see that all these relations which we have developed all these years since our birth, actually they are based on bodily platform only. Because I recognize myself as one entity and this body is that understanding of that entity, what happens? The moment I understand that I am this body, I have got my parents who have given birth to this body, and my grandparents who have given birth to my parents' body. Then there are so many relatives, cousins, so many things, so many relations around me. All these are based only on my body. And because I think that I am this body and I have some entitlement to do some work, so I call it as a profession. And then I have professional relationships. So actually all my existence is revolving around existence of this body. The moment I am not there in the form of this body, the moment this body goes away, all these relationships become null and void. They become zero. But then we should think that this is the only my existence? Just I'm existing on a body platform, that's all, nothing more than that. So because this is what we are understanding as a materialistic level, we think that I am the center of this whole world. Maybe some people think that I am center of this whole universe also. And they become very much agitated if they don't get their dues, if people don't respect them the way they expect them to respect. So what is happening? I am surrounded by this whole world, and this body is actually my via media, the portal through which I interact with this world. And that's why I think that my existence is just on the bodily platform. Now, if you see this picture, this is a very astonishing picture. And the moment I saw it many years back, since then I many times think about it and I contemplate on it, that this picture tells so much about us. And this is a picture which is known as pale blue dot sign. And what is this picture? This is a picture which was taken by Voyager 1. Voyager 1 is one of the rarest satellite which was launched from Earth, which has gone the farthest in the space, and still it was connected to Earth and sending its signal. So when this Voyager 1 was about 6 billion kilometers away from Earth, it took one picture of our galaxy. And this pale dot sign is actually the Earth on which we live. Now, if you think that actually I am center of this universe and everything is revolving around me, then we should actually pause and look at this picture. This is our existence. This is our whole planet's existence. So in this wilderness, this planet is just roaming around in this space, and we think that we are very important. But right perspective is that we are not at all important. One of the very well-known scientists, he said that humans are the only species, if they become extinct, nobody will be bothered about them, because actually they are damaging so much environment that it will be good for environment that someday humans will become extinct. So right perspective is that if I am this body only and my existence is only on bodily platform, then actually I am very insignificant. Because if we think about in Darwin terms also, we are just one of the species which will surviving somehow, because survival of the fittest is there, and someday some changes will occur in the environment and we may become extinct. So what is the right perspective? Am I only this body? But we have just heard that you are not this body. So let's explore this paradigm also, that I am not this body, then what I am? At least try to understand what I am. So as a doctors, we know that if someone is alive and he dies because of some reason, and then if we do chemical analysis, then we know that maximum part of it will be oxygen, then carbon, because it is a carbon based life, then hydrogen, nitrogen, and others. So finally, if we try to sell all these chemicals in the chemical market, our value will be hardly 193 rupees. So this body's value is only 193 rupees. But we spend so much lakhs of rupees for upkeep of this body. We spend so much money just to save our near and dear ones when they are very ill. If the value of this body is only worth 195 rupees, then why we are striving so much and spending so much and doing so much research to save this body? So intuitively, we also know that actually we are not just some arrangement of chemicals. We are much, much more than arrangement of this chemical. Somehow, in all our medical school teaching and training, one question has been left unanswered. And the reason is that even professors don't know the answer. And that question is, what is the difference between a living person and a dead person? Somebody was breathing and his heart was beating, and in a moment he dies. What has been removed from that body? Actually, science will never be able to answer this question. They are just beating around the bush, saying either the name of homeostasis or some cardiorespiratory event. But actually, there is something mystical happening when death occurs. And Lord Krishna is so merciful that in Bhagavad Gita Chapter 2, he tells and actually takes us through this whole journey, that what is life and what is death. Because if we want to understand who am I, we will have to understand what is life, what is living, and what is death. So many times, if you see someone taking birth and you congratulate them, and then they will have one birth certificate on their name that, okay, this and this baby is born to these parents on this day, this time, weighing this much, having the pug marks like this. Now, what is this? This is just a birth certificate. Then someday somebody will die, and then another certificate will be issued to him. Okay, certified that so and so had died because of cardiorespiratory arrest. And this is his death certificate. Now we should think that, am I just a journey between a birth certificate and a death certificate? Am I in this world and my existence is just for collecting these two papers? Then somebody will say, no, 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 sir, no, not two papers. Sometime I get award also and I will collect one more paper. I will get the award certificate. And someone else will say that, no, no, sometime I become ill and I collect one medical certificate also. But eventually, what is happening? Are we here to collect these four types of certificate? This is our mission which has been given to us. That, okay, so and so soul, go to this universe, this earth, and collect these four certificates and come back. First is your birth certificate, then few certificates of accomplishment, and the last certificate of death, which eventually, anyways, you will not be able to collect. You will have to collect it from someone else because you already died. Nobody gets the death certificate before he has left his body. So what is happening? Our life is just a line. Like we draw one line from point B to point D. Same way our life is just a line which is drawn from point B, that is birth, to point D, that is death. So point B, birth, to point D, death. Nobody knows how long is this line. For someone, this line may be very small. He will die in neonatology unit only. And for someone, this line may be as long as maybe 100, 110, 20 years. That's all. And in this time period, we will do something with this body and we will develop some relationships and we will identify with this body for this whole life. Now, surprisingly, this body itself tells us that what is body. Body is B-O-D-Y. B means birth, O means old age, D means disease, and Y means Yamraj or death. So body means birth, old age, disease, and death. Dukh doshanu darshanam. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi. Dukh doshanu darshanam. So this is our body. Now we know that body has taken birth and someday body will die. People who are inquisitive, people who will try to understand the truth as it is, They will understand that if this body is going to die someday and this universe is also going to finish one day, then actually this material world is not the shelter which I am seeking. And including my mind and intelligence, even in my mind and intelligence, I cannot take refuge because my mind keeps on changing and knowledge keeps on improving my intelligence. So, where to take shelter? Where to find that thing which is unchanging in this ever changing scenario? Why I am saying ever changing scenario? Let's try to understand. Because this body is there. Now we have understood that this body is actually abode of all the sufferings. So what we do, like Arjuna, we will have to surrender to someone. Now, when we surrender to someone, that authority, that bona fide spiritual authority will give us some guidance. And this guidance can be in form of many ways, but for as professionals are concerned, we will have to do our professional duties. So that guidance could be in the form of what we all know, this celebrated shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Karmanne vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phal hetur bhurma mate sangots karmani. So what actually Lord is saying that you have only authority to do work. You cannot claim the results. So we will try to explore this theme in subsequent lectures also. But for time being, if we take this template as the template of knowledge, then what we are doing, the moment the first spark of knowledge comes in our mind that we are not this body, automatically there will be second thought coming to us. If I am not this body, what I am and how I can know about it. And that is the process of surrender. So Lord Krishna very nicely says that nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah ubhyor api drashtantas shivantas yo tattvadarshi. Nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah. Lord Krishna is saying that there are two different entities. One entity will actually perish in due course of time, and that is material entity, what we call as body, body. But there is one more spiritual entity, naste vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah. There is one more entity, what Lord Krishna calls as sata. Sat means ever existing. That Sat entity will never be destroyed. So if we see this picture, we must have seen this picture many times in our life because we live in India. But have we any time tried to put our face to this picture and tried to picturize that, yes, this is what is happening to my body also. I was very small someday and slowly I am growing up and now I am getting old and someday I will definitely die. This is as sure as death. Now, if something is as sure as death, that is death. Only death is as sure as death. But something is unchanging. So we fear death. Many times we don't want to discuss about death, especially in modern scenarios. They keep mortuaries far behind. They want to make all the such departments in the basement. They want to give them some separate exit so that nobody sees death, nobody sees crying. Same thing was happening to Lord Buddha. He was also kept away from this old age, disease, suffering, death. And what has happened? Someday he faced it and he had that realization, the nirvana. Same way, say such thing will happen to us also. Someday we will also have that moment when we will start thinking about it, that someday I will die. What will die? What will perish? And that is the answer which we should seek from Bhagavad Gita. So now if we want to seek this answer, Lord Krishna in 16th shloka specifically tells that something is there which will never perish. And what is that something which will not perish is body. What will perish is soul. Is it right? No. How we can understand it? Let's see one more example. Lord Krishna says that someday everything will destroyed and everything will become zero, but something will not be destroyed. Even after destruction of this body, something will not be destroyed. And this is what he calls as soul, Atma. He says that Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Purano Na Hanyate Hanyamane Sharire. Something will not be destroyed even after destruction of this body. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Hanyamane means destruction of sharir, this body. The sharir will be destroyed, but something will be ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano. Ajo, which has not taken any birth. Nitya, ever existing. Shashvat, always existing. Purano, the oldest. What is that inside us? That thing, that entity is soul. So it is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is what is soul. So what we understood till now, we have understood that actually I am not this body, I am something else. I am something beyond this body. Body will be destroyed, I will not be destroyed. What is that I which is not destroyed? We can call it, for sake of discussion, soul or Atma. Now, if we want to understand anything what is beyond this body, we will have to understand this diagram. And what it tells us, our body is made up of few elements, like we discussed. We can divide it into many ways. One classic way of dividing is earth, water, fire, air, and ether, the Panch Mahabhut. So this body is made up of Panch Mahabhut, or 5 things. But there is something beyond these Panch Mahabhut, and that is mind, intelligence, and false ego or ahankar. These 3 things are what constitute the subtle body. So gross body, what we see through our eyes. And subtle body is something what we cannot see through our eyes, but we can feel through its different effects. Like we can understand somebody is intelligent by looking at his grades. We can understand somebody is happy or unhappy and indirectly understand what is going in his mind. So we can have some inclination of what is mind, what is intelligence. That entity of that I exist, that I-ness, is known as ego. So ego, mind, and intelligence, all these 3 things, they constitute the subtle body. Gross body is what doctors treat, surgeons treat. Subtle body, some part of it is treated by psychiatrist, psychologist, something discussed by some philosophers, hypnosis people. But beyond this understanding is soul. It is the subtlest part of our existence. Like in science, we have not been able to understand intelligence and mind and what to talk about ego. Then how we can understand about soul, which is the subtlest element of our body. So for that experience of soul, we will have to understand through spirituality. So like we see that earth, water, fire, air, ether, and for mind, intelligence, and false ego, these all 8, they constitute the Lord's energy. But there is one entity, what is known as soul. Soul is ever existing. Soul will always exist. Body will be perished. So na jayate mrite va kadachan. So even in birth or in death, this soul will be there. So this soul even travels through different species also. So we keep on roaming in different species, and somehow by our karmas, we get this human form. And then we have intelligence to understand what is God and to understand what is self-realization. And if we waste our human life, then we can understand that this is a very rare opportunity which is being given to some soul. So the soul which is residing in our body is very rare, because it is very rare to get human form. And in human form also, it is very rare to understand what is self-realization. But how this soul changes, or if someone asks you that, okay, I understood I am not this body, I understood I am soul, but how does it make any difference to me? See, we are afraid of death. We are afraid of death because we think that we will have to leave this body with which we are so much attached. But actually, if we just contemplate, then when we were born, we were 2.5, 3 kg small baby, and now we are maybe 65, 70 kg adult. And if we look at our own pictures while growing up, we will understand that no, something drastically has changed. My weight has changed, my understanding towards life has changed, my intelligence, my ego, everything has changed. So actually, in this one life which we are experiencing in this so-called body, actually our body is changing every day. Scientifically also, we know that in 7 years, all our cells in our body, they change. After 7 years, everything is new. Even neurons, they regenerate now, we know. So what is there? What is to fear about this change of body? There should be no fear, because anyways we are changing this body. That's what Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna, that Vamsamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grahanati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnanyani sanyati navani dehi. So just Arjuna, like you change your clothes and you don't think too much about it, same way Vamsamsi jirnani yatha vihaya, when they become old, torn off, what you do? You change your clothes. Same way you change your body. Like you don't lament for changing your clothes, that, oh, I have given up my old clothes and now I have to don the new clothes. You are in fact happy about it. Same way, when your body has become useless, you leave it and you accept the new body. There is nothing wrong in that, because changing body is happening even in this life. Death is just a major transformation which we see when this soul will get a newer body. Now, the soul has very specific qualities which Lord Krishna tells. Nayanam chindanti shastrani, nayanam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledyanti na shoshiyati maruta. This soul can never be cut by any weapon, can never be burned by fire, can never be withered by wind, and can never be moistened by water. Why Lord Krishna is telling these four things? Someday, maybe we will take this Sloka is a standalone and we'll discuss in depth why these four things are being told. But right now, just to summarize, what Lord Krishna is telling is, see, if you can cut something by weapon, if you can burn or wither it or moisten it, then it is material thing. If you can't do all these things, then it is a spiritual thing. So Lord Krishna is saying that soul is not a material entity. Soul is special entity. So in this whole section, Lord Krishna will tell us so many qualities about soul. What I can request you is go through this section, try to find out if you can find these 25 qualities, what Lord Krishna is talking about soul in this whole chapter. And if you think about it, it is very amazing that these 25 qualities are there in soul. Now we have to move ahead in this concept, and we should understand that this soul, how it manifests. Soul manifests to us in the form of consciousness. Now, consciousness is something which is very difficult to define. As a doctor, as a neurosurgeon, or as a someone dealing with critical patients, we always tell that he is conscious oriented or he is not conscious oriented. But there, the consciousness is just a failure to respond to stimuli, or can respond to stimuli, external stimuli, can read his own thought and can express them. If some person can do all these things, then we call them that he is a conscious person, well oriented in time, place, and person. But here, when we are talking about soul, soul manifests itself in the form of consciousness. So this is very important understanding. Like we discussed that what is difference between life and death? The difference between life and death is consciousness. A dead person doesn't have any consciousness. So what is the difference between life and death? Presence or absence of consciousness. If there is absence of consciousness, then that person is dead. Now, if there is no consciousness, means there is no soul, because we know that engine of consciousness is soul. Simple thing. So what is the proof of soul? A very common sense proof of soul will be that somebody has died. He is having all the same chemicals which he was having 5 minutes before when his heart was beating. So let's challenge someone that pump in some chemicals and make him revive. But we see so many deaths happening every day, despite of our best efforts and putting and pushing all the adrenaline and atropine and whatnot, giving shocks, people don't revive. Why? Because something has left their body. And what is that which has left this body? Is consciousness. This consciousness in the form of soul. So very common sense to understand. But we are living in an era of evidence-based medicine and evidence-based surgery. And somebody may ask us, okay, you're talking so much about soul. Have you any experience? Can you demonstrate it spiritually, and can you demonstrate it through scientific methods? So spiritually, if you want to demonstrate soul, then we will have to follow some process and realize our own soul, which is there inside our body. Scientifically also, there are many evidences. Like one evidence is what we call as near-death experience. Near-death experiences, sometimes people become so much critically ill that almost they have died, and then they are revived and they come back to their life. When they come back to their life, they tell experiences that they had an experience of existence beyond this body, where they can see many things which they don't know about. And this near-death experiences, they prove that some way is there through which our consciousness can travel in the space. Same thing happens to many reincarnation studies also. There is one famous scientist who has tabulated more than 3,000 cases of reincarnation all over the world and all the different religion. And he says that actually reincarnation means there is some way in which the information from that previous body has traveled to this new body within time and space. And how something can travel from one body to another, that something is soul. So soul, along with subtle body, with all its liking, disliking, and all the past experiences and memories, travel from one body which has died to another body which is newly formed. And sometimes few of the people, they remember those experiences which they had in that previous birth and that previous life, and then they will share it with people, and then Ian Stevenson and his team will go to each one of them, and very scientifically and rigorous analysis they will do, and then they will prove that yes, this is a right case of reincarnation. So there are so many things through which we can understand that reincarnation is happening. This Born Again is a very nice book. If you want to know more about it, you can read on it. So near-death experiences, the out-of-body experiences, and reincarnation studies, these three are the ways in which we can scientifically also understand the existence of soul. So now what is death? Death is something which is, like we discussed, as sure as death. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu, as sure as death. Somebody who has taken birth will die. So death is something at point of time when we become avyakta. Avyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata. So this existence, what we are experiencing in this body, is vyakta madhyani bharata. Means before this experience began, we were avyakt in the form of just Atma. And after this experience, we cease with death, we will again become avyakt. So between two avyaktas or unmanifest thing, there is one manifest life, what we are experiencing right now. So death is nothing much to think about, because death is just that transition from vyakt to avyakt, and again we know that that avyakt will again become vyakt, because jatasya hi dhruva mrityu janma mritasya cha. That means that eventually again we will have birth. So that's why soul is very surprising entity. Soul is very surprising entity because it is ever existing, having 25 special qualities, what Lord Krishna discusses in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter. That's why he summarizes soul with a very nice sloka in which he says, Ascharyavat paschat kaschitena. Means it is so surprising, or in a way, everybody is surprised. Even like if you talk to some scientist, he will be surprised. Okay, can some such antimatter thing exist? If you talk to one believer, then he will say it as yes, yes, soul is very amazing thing. If you talk to a devotee, if you talk to Lord Krishna himself, he is also surprised that okay, soul is such a surprising thing. Now thing is, okay, I have understood about soul, I have understood existence of this body is just for temporary phenomena. I have also understood that someday I will become unmanifest and my existence will be only in the form of soul. But actually, when I'm in this body, what should I do with this body? So we started with two questions. One question was, who are you? So we understood I am not this body, I am soul. Now, second question was, what you do? Now, if you are in this body, you will have to do something, because soul's inherent nature is to work and be active always. Lord Krishna very nicely gives a very good concept here. He says that Swadharmapi chaveksha na vikappantu arahasi. Swadharma and Nitya Dharma. Lord Krishna gives us this very nice concept that there are two things. Swadharma, our professional duties. We all are professional people, like Arjuna was a professional warrior, a Kshatriya. We all are professionals doing our own job. So one is our professional duty, the Swadharma, and another is Nitya Dharma. Lord Krishna in this remaining chapter will try to bring this point in front that you will have to find balance between your Swadharma and Nitya Dharma. And he starts to tell Arjuna by encouraging him, saying that Hatova prapsasi swarga jitva bhokshase mahim. Means if you will win this war, you will inherit the whole Swarga. And you will enjoy like a kingly delights. If you die in this war, what will happen? Because you have fought the war well and you have done your Swadharma, you will be promoted to Swarga and you will enjoy there. So anyways, either ways, you are not the loser. If you do your duty, either you will enjoy here if you win, or if you die in this war, you will enjoy the heavenly delights. So this is what it talks about Swadharma. But there is something else what Lord Krishna wants us to understand, and that is Nitya Dharma. Now, what is difference between Swadharma and Nitya Dharma? Swadharma is bodily platform of understanding, where this body has been given some professional duties by the society, and our own choice sometimes we choose. But what is Nitya Dharma? Nitya Dharma is the dharma of soul, the duty of soul. And what is the duty of soul? Duty of soul is to serve. So we have to find a balance that our Swadharma should be balanced with our Nitya Dharma. Means our professional duties should be balanced with the duties of our soul. So that's what Lord Krishna says, that if you understand you are this soul, and death, which gives us maximum anxiety, depression, and all the sleepless nights, if we understand that actually death is nothing, just changing of some clothes, then we understand that nothing can disturb me. And that's what Lord Krishna says, that Sukh Dukhe Same Kratva Labh Labho Jaya Jaya. What Krishna is saying, that you become equipoised whether you have very much happiness in your life, or sometime if you are very unhappy because of circumstances, if you get profit or if you attain loss, if you win or if you are defeated. In all these circumstances, what we have to remain? Same Kratva. We have to remain equipoised. Who can remain equipoised? Someone who focuses on his soul. Someone who focuses on his soul can only remain equipoised. Someone who focuses on his body can never remain equipoised. Someone who is doing his duty can remain equipoised. Someone who is doing some work because he wants something out of it, he wants to enjoy the fruits of that work, he can never remain equipoised. That's why this equanimity, how to attain this equanimity, Lord Krishna gives a name, and we should all understand that name, and that name is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Lord Krishna says that this understanding of equanimity is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, means you should remain equipoised in anything what is happening around you. If you remain equipoised, what you have done? You have actually Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna. What you have given up the three modes of nature, the Sattvagun, Rajogun, and Tamogun, and you have gone beyond it. In subsequent sessions, we will understand what these three modes are and how to go above them. But here, what important thing we have to understand, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi means intelligence will play an important role. If your intelligence is fixed up, then only you will develop this equanimity. And if you develop this equanimity, what will happen? Dukheshu anudvigyamana, sukheshu vigatasparaha, vit raga bhaya krodha, sthir dhir muni uchyate. So if you develop this equanimity, you will become sthir dhir muni. You will become equipoised person. You will become like a sage. And what three things you will have to live? Veet, Rag, Bhaya, and Krodha. We already discussed it in last session that Rag, Bhaya, and Krodha, these three things are actually disturbing us. And we have to do what? Veet means to leave them. So Veet, Rag, Bhaya, Krodha. But then when we try to attain this level of understanding that I am the spirit soul, I am just not matter, I am Sat Chid Anand Swarup, when I try to understand it, there are so many obstacles which occur in our life. And what are these obstacles? We will briefly see them and then we will finish today's session. So what are these obstacles which are preventing us to understand all these things and to realize all these things? And these obstacles are two. One is our false identity, which we already understood. The false identity is that I am this body and all relationships which are attached to this body are mine. This we already understood, that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. Another thing which is preventing us to understand soul and realize it is lust. Lust means calm. Calm means just not some sort of attraction to opposite gender. This calm is all the activities which we do thinking that we are the enjoyer. So what Lord Krishna is saying, how to come up with some plan, how to contemplate that somehow we can go beyond these obstructions. And what is that contemplation? That contemplation is very nicely given in two shlokas. Dhyayato Vishayana Punsa Sangat Se Shupajayate Sangat Sangjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Vijayate Krodhad Bhavati Sammoha Sammohat Smriti Vibrama Smriti Bhanshat Buddhinasha Buddhinashat Pranashyati. So what Lord is telling us? Whenever we see some object, we have some sense of attachment to it. And either we want to enjoy it and then we start craving for it. And if that craving is not fulfilled, we develop anger. So every time when we are angry, we should think on this template. Why I am angry? Is there something which is not being fulfilled? And why it is not being fulfilled? And how I can fulfill it? This is the anger. Anger leads to lack of judgment. And lack of judgment leads to bewilderment of memory. And all that intelligence which we have gathered from our scriptures, from Guru Maharaj, from all the things, they are just lost. And we again fall in this material existence. So what is important? That initial thing is important. Object will always be there around us. But our attachment and contemplation, what technically Lord Krishna says, Dhyayato Vishayana Punsa. Vishay par dhyan. Dhyayato means dhyan lagana. When we contemplate on Vishay object, then our all this fall starts. So there is one phase which is thinking stage. Second phase is feeling stage. And third phase is willing and doing stage. Now, what we should do? If we are intelligent enough, we should stop at here, thinking stage, because it is like avalanche. The more it comes down, the bigger it becomes and difficult to control. The more up you go, it is easy to control. So at thinking stage itself, we can control all our thought processes. We can control all our kama vasanas and lust. And if we do that, then only we will have understanding of soul. Just not by memorizing the shlokas, by understanding this thought. So actually, everything is obstacle to understand soul. Our bodily identity, the gross body is definitely a big obstacle. Our mind is the biggest obstacle because it is very flickering. Our intelligence, which is not sharp enough to understand. Our senses, which are very weak. Our false sense of identity. All these coverings are actually coverings obstructing our realization of soul. And slowly we will have to work on all these layers. When we work on all these layers, then we start understanding and realizing what is soul. And soul is what? Sat, Chit and Anand. And body is what? Asat, Achit and Niranand. So body is actually beyond all this good qualities of soul. And that's why we are depressed. Why we go into depression? Why people commit suicide? Why they attain so much in life and still they are unhappy? Because they have not realized that the source of Anand is inside their heart in this form of soul and not outside in the objects. So what we have understood today, if we want to summarize, that swadharma or profession will always be there. But then there is a big role of nitya dharma or devotion. When we combine profession with devotion, so either ways, if you make devotion your profession or you do your profession with devotion, both ways what we are doing, we are balancing. And when we balance these two wheels of our life, the profession, what we have been given because of this body and society, and devotion, what actually we are hankering for is the demand of soul. When we do both the thing, then we actually realize. So even a drop of such happiness, it will stand way beyond comparison with an ocean of happiness derived from any other activity. So whatever happiness we have gathered in this lifetime, if we combine everything and consolidate it at one point, and that all experiences and happiness of this material life, they are nothing in front of a one drop of spiritual experience which you have. So how to develop that spiritual experience? The easiest way in this life, in this Kali Yuga, is to do meditation on Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When we meditate on this mantra, slowly all these coverings of body, our ego, our intelligence, our false understanding and identity, they will just melt away. And then we will realize that, oh, I am a spirit soul. And as a spirit soul, my duty is just to serve Lord Krishna. And when we understand this, then comes the conclusion. If we see the 71st sloka of this chapter, Lord Krishna has very nicely summarized the whole chapter and how he has done it. Vihaya kamanya sarvan pumans charati nispraha nirmamo nirahankarah sa shantim adhigachati. So what he is saying, nirmamo nirahankaro. We all want shanti. Finally, we all are doing everything to attain that real peace. But where is that real peace? Why it is so far off from us? Why we are not able to experience it? Why? Because actually we are living very swarthi life. Swarthi means we are just thinking about ourselves. We are so selfish. Actually, we should become more selfish and we should think about our soul, which is our real identity. So what we have to develop? We have to develop three things to experience this Shanti. Nishpraha, Nirmamaha, and Nirahankara. So Nirahankara means no false ego. Nirmama means nothing belongs to me. I am not the proprietor. Or Nispraha means I am not attached to any of these things because I want to derive some happiness from it. When we develop these three ends, Nispraha, Nirmama, and Nirahankara, actually we have realized what is soul. That's why Lord Krishna says in conclusion, Sa Shantim Adhigachati. Adhigachati. Gachati means going in Sanskrit. So Shanti will come, walk in our life. Adhigachati. Shanti will, what will Shanti do? Shanti will walk in our life. Or in other ways, we will walk towards the Shanti. So we all want Shanti, but Shanti will not come through material understanding. Shanti will not come through bodily understanding. Shanti will come through Nispraha, Nirmama, and Nirahankara. And these three things only person who has experienced soul can do. Person who has not experienced soul can never become Nispraha, Nirmama, and Nirahankara. So what we have to do, somewhere, somehow, we have to revive our that consciousness of soul, which is not coming out because of so much obstruction is there to its light. So already this knowledge is there in soul, but so much obstruction is there, it is not being manifest. What we have to do, we have to remove all these base thoughts which are there ingrained in our mind, like envy, lust, greed, ignorance, false pride, attachment, anger. And what we have to understand, we have to accept some spiritual master like Arjuna did. And then we have to study what he is teaching. Then we have to follow it. We have to control our senses, and then we will get the spiritual knowledge. So this is the staircase. We are on the lower rungs of this staircase, suffering so much and thinking someday by some material arrangement and some miracle, all this suffering will go away. But actually, this will not happen. This will never happen. This has never happened. Only way is to move up this staircase and somewhere reach to that point in our life that yes, I want to understand this spiritual knowledge. Yes, I want to find out answers to those two basic questions. Who am I and what I am supposed to do in this life? And if I get this answer, then what will happen? Really, I have understood my life. So Arjun, if we summarize, he initially surrendered to Krishna. Then what Krishna did? Krishna gave him knowledge that you should fight. That knowledge was given in 4 different paradigms. First was that you are not this body, you are a spiritual soul. Second was that even if you think you are this body, at least perform your prescribed duties, because if you die fighting, at least you will go to heavenly planets. Another way is that even if you want to fight here, but you don't want all the repercussions and the bad karmas occurrence because of that, then you do Nishkam Karma Yoga. And for that, you will have to become a Sthit Pragya and you will develop Samadhi. So this is how we can summarize this whole second chapter. And I know that it is very difficult to remember this much also. So I have given 3 words to you. Someday, if you think that I want to understand second chapter, think of these 3 words. First is confusion. Arjuna is in confusion. Then what is this consciousness, my existence, and what is the conclusion of all this knowledge? So confusion, whenever you have confusion, find out someone who can answer your confusion, surrender to that person, and happily listen from it and try to follow it. Second, what he will tell you, if he is a genuine guru, first and foremost thing he will tell you that there is some body-soul dynamics. You are not this body, you are soul. And as a soul, you have some duties to perform. And that duty should be done only for sake of happiness of Lord. So when we understand this, our consciousness is properly situated. And then conclusion. Conclusion is that We will have to do our professional duties like Arjuna had to fight, but we have to do our eternal duties also. Somewhere finding balance between professional and eternal duties is what we are seeking through all these sessions, and we will try to explore this more. Someone may ask that, okay, like second chapter is summary of whole Bhagavad Gita, so we understood whole Bhagavad Gita, why to attend other sessions? Or rather, what was the need for all this discussion of rest of these so many chapters between Arjuna and Lord Krishna? Answer is that yes, this is the conclusion of whole summary study of what is given in Bhagavad Gita, but there are so many questions which are still being unanswered. And Arjun, from our side, he will ask those questions to Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna will patiently answer all these questions. So all these doubts which will come upon us when we try to understand this, they will be concluded by Lord Krishna himself in subsequent chapters. So next time we will take the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita and try to understand it. If you want to remember one shloka from this chapter, try to memorize 2.7. Karpanya dosho bhata svabhava prachami tam dharma sammuda cheta yat shreyasya nishtitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. Last time also we discussed that there should be some homework. Last time we discussed that homework is to find out how many names of Lord Krishna and Arjuna are there in first chapter. This time the people who are interested, they can do one homework, very interesting homework. You can find out in second chapter, Lord Krishna gives 3 different analogies to explain things. Try to find out those 3 analogies. And if you want to discuss those 3 analogies, maybe we can discuss in next session. Or if you want to keep to yourself, at least try to find out those 3 analogies. So thank you everyone for patiently listening to us. So we are doing all this to revive our that lost consciousness, so that someday we can understand that yes, not only on the theoretical platform that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, but on a spiritual platform also that yes, I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. Thank you so much. If there are any queries, questions, or any corrections, we'll be more than happy to answer. There is one hand raise. You want to ask something?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
धन्यवाद प्रणाम माता जी। जी माता जी।
प्रभु जी, थोड़ा बहुत इस चीज से रिलेटेड है।
जी।
मैं ये पूछना चाहती हूँ कि कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस, हाउ वी कैन लिव इन कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस एंड प्रैक्टिकली कैसे किया जा सकता है।
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Actually, this is a very vast topic, and maybe it is a lifetime project for all of us, how to live in Krishna consciousness. But I will try to give you some tips that as professionals, how we can achieve that. So as a professional, we have very busy schedule and we have family duties and so much professional work to done and cutthroat competition. We have to keep ourselves always on toes, and in between all that we will have to find out time for our spirituality. Now there are many things which can help us to remain Krishna consciousness whole day. First thing is to start your day with good Krishna conscious activity, either by doing some meditation on Hare Krishna mantra, or doing some small kirtan, or listening to some lecture or bhajan, or doing some deity worship. That way what we are uh, conditioning our mind that okay, I am starting my day on a nice spiritual note and I want to remain like that. So every day when we keep on doing that, we are slowly conditioning our mind that yes, we want to remain in that level of consciousness whole day. Now second thing what we can do, always some or very or the other, when we are very hectic in our day, maybe at 11 or 12 o'clock, which happens to most of us, then maybe we can put one alarm in our mobile, and for just for sake of 5 minutes we can just open Bhagavad Gita, read one shloka, and then again go back to our work. Maybe in between seeing 2 patients, or in between 2 surgeries when another patient is getting induced, That way, we are again reminding ourselves that, okay, I am doing my job, but I am doing this job for the sake of Lord Krishna, and I am actually giving up all my results to him. Now, third thing and very important thing is we should learn to give some part of whatever we earn from our living in the service of Lord Krishna in any ways and any liking which you have, either to feed the needies, or if you want to give to some organization which is doing some good work, whatever is your liking. We are never forcing you for any specific thing. But the moment we start giving something for that spiritual activity, what we are doing? See, very beautiful understanding that suppose someone gives 5,000 rupees for some spiritual activity. Now he must have spent some amount of time and energy to earn that 5,000 rupees. So what he's giving, when he's giving that 5,000 rupees, actually he's giving his that much time slot and that much energy to Lord Krishna. Because eventually, if we are a student of Bhagavad Gita, we know that finally we have to surrender everything to Lord Krishna. So at least in bits and pieces, we should try to understand that yes, we are learning to serve Lord Krishna. We are learning to give Lord Krishna. And if we slowly start giving some earnings because we have too much attachment because of our conditioning to money, when that money goes from our hand for some good cause and something good happens around us because of that, that whole cosmos is actually giving you positive vibrations because of that. Everybody is appreciating you that yes, you have done a good job. So this is how we feel good about it, that yes, we have done something good. And finally, at the end of your whole day, you can again devote yourself to maybe some small book reading before you go to bed, or maybe doing some kirtan if everybody is favorable at your home. So this way, what we can do, this way, whole of your day, you have remained conscious about Krishna. So actually, what is Krishna consciousness? Now, to summarize, what is Krishna consciousness? Krishna consciousness is actually being conscious that Krishna is conscious about you. Because some days just sit and contemplate. I am not thinking every time and whole day about Krishna, but Krishna is every time and every day thinking about me, because I am existing just because he is thinking about me. When Krishna is whole day thinking about me, can't I also reciprocate to him? So what is Krishna consciousness? Krishna consciousness is that reciprocation, that Lord is always thinking about me. Let me also reciprocate and think about him. So if we have that attitude of gratitude towards Krishna and what he has given to us, it is not very difficult to remain Krishna consciousness. And this is how, like, as professionals, as busy people, we can also remain actively in that devotional mood whole day. And there may be there are many other things which we can do. uh, you all also can share what you do, how you remain Krishna conscious whole day. Madam also is very nice devotee. She can also share to us what she is doing, how she maintains her spirituality. So madam, you want to share something?
सर मैं बहुत बहुत छोटी हूँ, आपने बहुत ज्यादा बोल दिया.
नहीं
I'm not
बोल,
that good
we
devotee, but
see you,
एक
you do so such nice devotional activities, and you are so favorable to all the endeavors which we take upon. Actually, you embody that spirit of service that you never come in the front.
सर बहुत
But
ज्यादा सर,
no,
सब
no, no.
कुछ नहीं है. बट सर बहुत कम समझ में आती है, सच बताएं तो. आई ट्राइड, मैं बहुत ज्यादा मोबाइल देखती थी, टू बी वेरी क्लियर टू यू, सोते समय. तो मुझसे बहुत प्रॉब्लम भी होती थी उससे. मैं आधा घंटा 1 घंटे तक मोबाइल देखती रहती थी बेमतलब. तो उसको थोड़ा कम करने के लिए कोशिश करी पढ़ने की, कि भाई बहुत ज्यादा हो रहा है, उससे आंखें भी दुखने लग जाती थी कई बार. सो उस समय फिर कुछ पढ़ने की कोशिश करी, तो सबसे इजीएस्ट गीता रहती थी पास में जो पढ़ सकते हैं. पर समझ कुछ नहीं आता प्रभु जी. बस पढ़ लेते हैं 2 श्लोक और सो जाते हैं.
समझ में तो मेरे भी नहीं आया है। आई एम ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंडिंग।
तो ठीक है।
कभी कभी ऐसा होता है ना, अपने भी समझ में नहीं आता, हम दूसरों को समझाने लगते हैं। सेम विथ मी।
नहीं सर, आपकी
when
बात
you
बहुत अलग है।
when you like in MBBS, you come to second or third year and then some of your junior comes with some anatomy book and सर ये समझा दो। अभी उसको
ट्रू।
कौन बताए कि मेरी समझ में नहीं आया था जब मैं फर्स्ट ईयर में था।
सही बात है सर, गाइडन लेकर आते थे जब जूनियर्स अपने पास, तब यही
यस
लगता था
तो
भाई हमने तो पढ़ी नहीं, तुम्हें कैसे पढ़ा दे।
लेकिन somehow Lord Krishna is so merciful that maybe things are going on, show is going on without any substance.
सर आपकी ये बात बिल्कुल सही लगी मुझे, और मेरे को लगता है ये बहुत इजीएस्ट चीज है जो सब कर सकते हैं, कि उठते से ही कुछ भगवान का नाम ले लें और सोते समय भगवान का नाम ले लें। तो
Yes,
उससे काफी पीस ऑफ माइंड रहता है।
yes,
तो
इससे
दीज
ये
टू
भी रहता
थिंग्स
है
आर द
कि
इजीएस्ट वे टू डू। और
जी
एक सिद्धार्थ प्रभु जी ने एक बहुत अच्छी चीज बताई थी, लाइक मैं माला जाप इतना नहीं कर पाती थी, तो ही सेड कि एक माला अपनी क्लिनिक के ड्रॉर में रख लीजिए, जब फ्री हो तो
हाँ,
कर लिया
that is
करें।
also good. Yes, yes, very nice.
तो दैट इज ऑल्सो अ गुड थिंग आई थिंक सभी के लिए, क्योंकि हम सब प्रोफेशनल्स हैं, सब क्लिनिक पे ज्यादा टाइम देते हैं बजाय घर पे।
Yes,
तो दीज थिंग्स कैन बी डन।
yes. So many time we can somehow snatch and some time here and there. Time management is the main thing. And also like today we discussed Nishkam Karma Yoga. So uh, every day when we are doing some work, it is very difficult to remember every time I am doing it for Krishna. What we can do is at the end of the day, we can offer a small prayer saying to Lord Krishna that whatever I have done today, I am offering all the results to you. So that is a easy way of at least starting the practice of Nishkam Karma Yoga. There was one hand raise. Bharti madam wanted to comment something. जी मैडम।
नमस्कार। आपने बहुत
नमस्कार।
अच्छा बताया। मैं सिर्फ एक श्लोक को थोड़ा इलेबोरेशन चाह रही थी, जो
जी
इसमें 48 है, जो
जी।
योगस्थ कुरु कर्माणि संगम
कर्माणि
त्यक्त्वा धनंजय।
संगम से जी जी जी।
हाँ, इसमें क्या भगवान मतलब ये कहना चाह रहे हैं कि पहले आप अपने योग में स्थिर हो जाओ, उसके बाद कर्म करो। और अगर ऐसा है तो ये तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट है हमारे लिए।
हाँ, तो यहाँ पे जो इम्पोर्टेंट बात समझनी है कि योग का एक्चुअली यहाँ पे मीनिंग क्या ले रहे हैं भगवान। इस पे बहुत सारी टीकाएं भी हुई है। लेट मी ओपन द श्लोका देन वी विल डिस्कस। श्लोक है 2.48। योगस्थ कुरु कर्माणि संगम त्यक्ता धनंजय सिद्ध असिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा समत्वम योग उच्यते। तो इसका जो लास्ट वाला पार्ट है समत्वम योग उच्यते, ये हमारी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विसेज का जो है वो ध्येय वाक्य भी है, समत्वम योग उच्यते। और योग कर्मसु कौशलम, ये बहुत फेमस फ्रेजेस हैं भगवत गीता के। तो यहाँ पे दो स्कूल ऑफ थॉट्स हैं। समत्वम योग उच्चते का अर्थ क्या होता है, या योग में स्थित होने का अर्थ क्या होता है। तो भगवान ये बताते हैं कि योग का अर्थ अगर हम शाब्दिक रूप से लें तो योग का अर्थ है जुड़ाव, किसी चीज से जुड़ना। व्हेन वी ज्वाइन समथिंग, दैट एक और एक का योग दो होता है। तो इसी प्रकार से जैसे हम देखें कि इवन फर्स्ट चैप्टर का नाम है अर्जुन विषाद योग। अब somebody कैन से दैट विषाद में कैसे योग हो सकता है, विषाद तो दुख होता है, तो विषाद में योग कैसे हो सकता है। जैसे इस चैप्टर का नाम है सांख्य योग, ऐसे हर चैप्टर का नाम योग है। कर्म योग, ध्यान योग, ज्ञान योग, भक्ति योग। तो ये योग वर्ड का अर्थ यहाँ पे क्या लिया जा रहा है। योग का अर्थ है कि एक ऐसी लैडर है, एक ऐसी स्टेयर केस है जिसके अलग अलग रक्स जो हैं वो अलग अलग योगास हैं। हम इस योगा लैडर पे अगले सेशन में बहुत डिटेल में बात करेंगे। तो हम जब इस लैडर पे चढ़ना आरंभ करते हैं तो वो इनिशियल चढ़ाई जो हमारी फर्स्ट रग पे है वो सिंपल कर्म के लेवल पे हो सकती है, जब हम कर्म इसलिए कर रहे हैं कि हम एंजॉय करना चाहते हैं फ्रूट्स को। और धीरे धीरे वो निष्काम कर्म योग, भक्ति योग पे जा सकती है। ध्यान योग, ज्ञान योग भी उस सीढ़ी का एक हिस्सा रहेंगे। जब भगवान यहाँ कहते हैं कि समत्वम योग उच्यते, तो भगवान ये कह रहे हैं कि वो जो समता है, वो इक्विनिमिटी जिसकी हमने बात की, व्यवसायत्मिका बुद्धि, वो समता एक्चुअली योग के लिए बहुत आवश्यक है। मतलब कि मेंटल पीस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है भगवान से जुड़ने के लिए। अब एक तरफ है हमारे कर्म, हमारी प्रोफेशनल ड्यूटीज, और एक तरफ है हमारे नित्य कर्म, हमारी डिवोशनल ड्यूटीज। यहाँ पे यही दोनों को कॉन्ट्रास्ट भगवान कर रहे हैं जब वो कह रहे हैं कि योगस्थ कुरु कर्माणि संगम त्यक्ता धनंजय। तो वो क्या कह रहे हैं कि योग में स्थित होना मतलब क्या हो गया, डिवोशनल एक्टिविटी हो गया, लेकिन करना कैसे, अपने कर्मों को करते हुए करना है। तो यहाँ पे भगवान क्या कह रहे हैं कि अपने कर्म भी करना है लेकिन योग में स्थित भी रहना है। इसको हम जो अभी डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि हम आज प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में, मॉडर्न लिविंग में कैसे कर सकते हैं कि हम अपनी एक्टिविटी करते रहें लेकिन समवेयर ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट टाइम वेयर वी रिमेम्बर गॉड। सो इसका अर्थ ये नहीं कि जब हम योग में स्थित हो जाएंगे तब हम कर्म करना आरंभ करेंगे, और इसका अर्थ ये भी नहीं है कि हम कर्म करते रहेंगे फिर एक दिन हम योग में स्थित होंगे। इसका अर्थ ये है कि हम ये दोनों को बैलेंस बना के चलेंगे। शुरू से हम ये ध्येय लेके चलेंगे कि हम नित्य कर्म भी अच्छे से करेंगे और हमारे स्वधर्म के जो कर्म हमारे शरीर के कारण मिले उनको भी अच्छे से करेंगे। सो फाइंडिंग दिस फाइन बैलेंस बिटवीन योर प्रोफेशनल ड्यूटीज एंड योर डिवोशनल ड्यूटीज, दैट इज समत्वम योग उच्यते। दैट समता इज एक्चुअली योग, दैट बैलेंस इज एक्चुअली योग। Actually, one time we had discussed that shloka maybe for 1.5 hours, and we tried to explore many versions of it. But right now, for sake of our understanding, I think this much is enough that yes, we have to explore both the dimensions of our being, the bodily dimension, which gives us profession, and the spiritual dimensions, which gives us some duties to be performed as a spirit soul. I think it is clear, madam, or should we discuss
Yes.
more about it? Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
प्रभु जी एक चीज
Yes.
बोल सकती हूँ?
Yes, yes, sure, sure.
प्रभु जी मैं सभी को आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी, आप सब जन्माष्टमी पे प्लीज जरूर आए मंदिर। बहुत अच्छा लगेगा आपका, आपके लिए भी शायद एक अलग ही अनुभव होगा क्योंकि वो एक आनंद ही अलग होता है। तो करबद्ध निवेदन है सभी से कि प्लीज जन्माष्टमी के दिन मंदिर अवश्य आए।
Yes, that will be good. Nice starting of your spiritual journey also, and that's why actually we purposefully started these sessions before Janmashtami, because we wanted everyone to gear up for Janmashtami. That can be a very good day to start something spiritual, maybe do some spiritual sankalpa, that we will do some chanting, we will try to develop some spiritual dimension in our life. Is there any other comment from Nilima madam, from Kavita madam, from all my seniors? They want to say something about today's session?
आज का सेशन बहुत अच्छा था, इंसाइट मिली लाइफ में कि व्हाट शुड वी डू। लास्ट टाइम से भी बेटर मेरे को ये समझ में आया कि लाइफ में क्या टर्निंग पॉइंट है। पर अपन डिटैचमेंट तो बोलते हैं, बट डिटैचमेंट के साथ अपन पूरी फैमिली के साथ चलते हैं। तो हाउ टू टैकल दिस डिटैचमेंट ऑफ फैमिली, क्योंकि बाकी डिटैचमेंट अपन सब कर सकते हैं, धन घर एवरीथिंग इज इमटेरियल, बट व्हाट अबाउट योर एल्डर्स एंड व्हाट अबाउट योर चिल्ड्रन, आप उनसे कब डिटैच होते हैं?
Yes, very nice. Very nice understanding which was given to me by my Guru Maharaj. And he tells very nice analogy. He says that if you draw circle, then there will be one center point of that circle. Now in a family, there may be 4 people. So there are 4 circles. Whenever these circle will come, there will be conflict because they will intersect somewhere. Now, if you develop a common center and you start drawing the circles, now none of these circles will intersect because there is common center, and we know geometry that you can draw n number of circles around that common center. So if we somehow develop a spirituality in our family and we develop that common center to be Krishna, and we develop all our understanding around that common center of Krishna, then there is no thing like detachment. Then what we are doing is we are actually serving our kids because they belong to God. We are serving our husband or wife because they are our partners in our spiritual journey. And when we are doing that ways, actually there is like as a grahastha, this is a very nice understanding that why to feel detached, why not feel spiritually attached. So when Lord Krishna tells us in this chapter itself that develop some higher attachment and lower attachments will automatically go. So there is no need for any detachment. The moment you have higher attachment, automatically you will leave the lower things. So moment we start behaving and interacting with our family members on a spiritual platform, there is nothing like detachment. There is no conscious effort to detach from anything. There is nothing like moving away from our duties. There is nothing like we will not love our kids, or we will not take care of them, or we will not feel attached towards them. We are attached towards them, but why we are attached? We are taking good care of our family. Why? Because that family is Krishna's family. We are taking good care of our house because actually that is house of Krishna, and incidentally I have got opportunity to live in that house. Not other way around, that this house belongs to me, Sharmas and Tiwaris, and then there is one small room also given to Lord to live like a tenant. Actually, this whole house belongs to Krishna, and we are the tenant. Because anyways, we are temporary in this world. So if we understand this way, there is nothing like detachment. Why to think about detachment? Always try to enjoy life with your kids, with your family members, but on a spiritual manner.
Very nice explanation. अब ऐसे करेंगे. It will
Yes, that
change
will be
life.
good.
Thank you.
And for that, somehow slowly we will have to directly or indirectly try to influence our family members that they also become interested in spirituality. That initiation is the most difficult part. But once they come in and enjoy this aspect of our spiritual realizations, then they will happily become part of it. Okay, thank you, madam. So is there any other comment from anyone? Nilima madam, you want to express something?
आपने जो बताया वैसा ही मैं भी कुछ बोलना चाहती थी
जी जी
कि
मैडम
जैसे
बोलिए.
लाइक अ व्हील फैमिली इज लाइक अ व्हील और
जी
उसमें अपन सेंटर में जहाँ से स्पोक्स निकलते हैं सारे व्हील के
जी
वो एक
जी.
सेंटर पॉइंट होता है. तो उस
Yes.
सेंटर पॉइंट में अगर हम भगवान को रखते हैं एंड ऑल द गॉड इज लाइक सेंटर पॉइंट ऑफ दैट व्हील और स्पोक जो है सारे के सारे वो हमारे फैमिली के मेंबर्स या जो हमारे अटैचमेंट हैं. अगर हम उन सारे अटैचमेंट को टुवर्ड्स सेंटर पॉइंट में रखेंगे तो वो हमसे डिस्टर्ब भी नहीं होंगे. जैसे सेंटर पॉइंट पे सारे स्पोक्स अटैच्ड हैं तो वो
Yes.
निकलेगा नहीं, कहीं व्हील जाएगा नहीं, वो बाहर निकलेगा. इसी
Yes.
तरह अगर हम सारे अटैचमेंट को सेंटर में लेके चलें, मतलब उनको भी कनेक्टेड रखें विद गॉड. जो आप बोल रहे थे कि आगे हमको उनको भी कनेक्ट करना है, इसलिए आई थिंक देयर इज नो नीड टू डिटैच फ्रॉम फैमिली मेंबर और उनको भी उसी तरह से सर्व करें कि ये भगवान के ही हैं. सब ईश्वर ने हमें इनकी सेवा के लिए भेजा
सेवा
इन
के
द
लिए
फॉर्म ऑफ
नियुक्त
गॉड
किया है. Yes, yes,
इटसेल्फ.
man. That is actually
सबने
निष्काम
हमारे
कर्म है.
ये दैट
Yes.
इज
Yes. Very nice thought. Actually, this is very important. So one prayer, if we can offer on behalf of our family, always we should offer that, oh Lord, let them remain in devotional service always. Because if they remain in devotional service, automatically they will be fountainhead of all the good qualities. We don't have to teach them ki sach bolo. We don't have to teach our kids ki be obedient raho. We don't have to teach them कि आप ये intoxications में मत पढ़ना, temptations में मत पढ़ना जब बाहर जाओगे पढ़ने, क्योंकि वो तो automatically पैकेज की डील है कि if you are spiritual, you automatically develop all these good qualities. So what we should aim for is somehow make them spiritual. Rest, everything will be taken care by Lord Krishna. So thank you everyone for your nice contemplation and inputs, and hope that the sankalp which we have taken to. Thank you Anil sir for your nice comment, and you are big inspiration for me always. So thank you each one of you individually. I bow down before you that you actually have that courage to listen from a person like me who is very boring. So hope you will not be bored too much and will come for the next session also. So thank you so much. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Jai Srila Prabhupada.